Thermoregulation is the maintaining of an organism's internal body temperature through various systems and behaviors. The narwhal, or Monodon monosaurus, is a specialized whale which has adapted to live in freezing waters. Narwhals are characterized by the long horn-like protrusion from their head, which is actually an extended upper left canine tooth. This tusk is hollow, sensing temperature and pressure. Narwhals are typically between 3.5 and 4 meters long when fully grown, excluding their tusk, which can grow up to 3 meters. They live mainly in the Arctic Ocean and are seen around Greenland, Russia, and Alaska. They have a specialized diet consisting mainly of halibut, cod, cuttlefish, shrimp, and squid. While they are hunted by orca and polar bears occasionally, the vast majority of narwhal predation is done by humans, more specifically the Inuit people. To combat the sub-zero temperatures of their environment, narwhals, like most whales, have large amounts of dense fatty tissue between the skin and muscle of the animal. This is called blubber and can be attributed to up to a third of the animal's weight. Keep in mind that your typical narwhal weighs in around 105,000 kgs. This blubber is a very poor conductor of heat and acts much like a thick layer of rubber or wetsuit would, preventing the warmth of the animal to be lost to the cold waters. While fat is common in all animals, the blubber in marine mammals have an adaptation which allows them to regulate temperature much more effectively. This is vascularization, meaning that throughout the blubber are veins which can be dilated or constricted to limit or increase the blood flow through the area. This reaction, known as vasoconstriction or vasodilation, allows the rapid cooling or insulation of the animal depending on its needs. If the animal needs to decrease its internal body temperature, it dilates the veins in the blubber, allowing large amounts of warm blood to be cooled by the water on the outside of the animal before traveling to and cooling its core. The inverse goes for when the animal needs to retain heat. The veins constrict, vastly limiting the amount of blood flowing through the surface of the animal. The amount of heat lost on the outside of the animal drops, and the internal temperature rises. This response can be finely controlled so the narwhal can survive in a range of conditions. While blubber is extremely thick around the body, head, and tail of the narwhal, its control surfaces have a reduced amount. This allows for more maneuverability, but also enables more heat to be lost through these areas. To limit the total amount of heat lost, the veins and arteries that run to the surface of the whale run next to each other to allow for a counter-current flow of heat. Counter-current heat flow occurs when one stream of cooler fluid runs in the opposite direction of a warmer stream. The heat will be transferred between the two much more quickly and effectively than most other methods due to the inversely proportional gradient of heat transfer. In effect, the warmer blood going from the core of the animal to the extremities transfers its heat to the colder blood going from the outer reaches of the animal inwards. The actions and reactions of these systems can be clearly seen on this flowchart. When the animal's temperature changes, the ion tubes for detecting temperature emit an electronic pulse which travels up the nervous system to the hypothalamus section of the brain. The hypothalamus then processes the information and sends a signal to one of the regulators. These are the veins in the blubber and the blood vessels leading to the extremities of the whale. Depending on whether the blood vessels in question dilate or contract, the whale will either disperse heat into the water or prevent the heat from leaving the body. This will cause a change in the internal body temperature of the whale, which will affect the temperature-sensing ion tubes, restarting the system and ensuring the temperature of the whale stays constant. The narwhal can survive temperatures that would reduce most animals to little more than blocks of ice. However, if caught unprepared by the massive tides in the Arctic Ocean, the whale can become beached and will almost certainly die from overheating. The first thing to happen when a whale is beached is the rate at which the whale is cooled rapidly decreases as the skin dries out. Because air conducts heat at only 5% the rate water does, the whale will begin to heat up. The ion tubes that detect temperature will detect the rapid heating and send a signal to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus will signal for as much warm blood as possible to be transferred to the surface of the animal by pumping vast amounts through exterior veins and limiting countercurrent flow. Despite the best efforts of the whale, it will continue to heat up as the blubber that once protected it from cold traps heat inside the animal. It will go hyperthermic. Because the brain of the animal cannot function at high temperatures, it will shut down. The whale will die from overheating and then dry out. The thick blubber and countercurrent flow of blood vessels allow the animal to remain warm throughout the year. This is especially crucial during the winter months when the whale spends most of its time beneath pack ice in deep oceans. The ability of the whale to remain warm while submerged at depth allows it to hunt more efficiently and obtain more food, and therefore survive at a higher rate. The ability to rapidly cool itself through the vasodilation of veins and blubber is absolutely necessary for undergoing long periods of exercise. whether it be fleeing an orca or chasing a particularly elusive cuttlefish. It is a crucial adaptation for the survival of the organism.